Hey, what's up, guys? Normally this particular video would be private, but I think it was day before yesterday, I had an old friend reach out to me about selling one of his Blackbirds that I built. It has the full auto chip in it, so it's not Sergey's board, and has I believe it's a 500 millimeter Russian smooth bore. So it's got a nice barrel on it and the full auto chip. He sent me a clip. I'll try to splice that in here. And if I can't splice it in here, I will attach it in the description. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking about it. And, actually, in theory, with the stock board and the 1200 RPM chip, you actually can, if you reach the highest velocity, which is 1150 feet per second, I believe. And at that velocity, I've never seen it go, never seen you be able to get any more than like 1500 rounds per minute. So in theory, you could max out the velocity / rate of fire with the factory board and the full auto chip. Anyway, just something worth noting. I'm jumping back in here for a second. I was putting everything away, and I forgot to mention that bird that's for sale. He has it on eBay. I'll leave the link in the description also. But he told me, he said if somebody wants to contact him personally, it would be very worth their while. So make of that whatever you want, but if you want to get in touch with it personally, just email me and I will send you his email. Now, for my customer, I just finished the inside of the hopper, and I'll show you about tuning it in just a second, but I wanted to make sure you were on the same page with me as the hose. You'll see pictures of these hoses like this when you're looking for a slide check, an ASA, and there used to be a PTT or PTC push to connect. I don't think they do those anymore. We've always gone with the Foster fitting. So your male Foster fitting and your female Foster fitting is, just kind of like a little tiny shop quick connect, but for HPA. So this is I think Ninja's making these different, but like I say, you don't have to get Ninja. Just make sure that it looks similar to that. You'll have your slide check valve here in the middle, and then your ASA here, because you need your ASA to screw into the internal air adapter. And yeah, it's not advisable to screw an HPA bottle directly in here unless you put it on empty, fill it up while it's on the hopper, and then empty it that day. Shoot it completely empty that day, and probably take it off after you're done with it. It's just really hard on seals, leaving it pressurized. So let's see. This here, this is the clutch mechanism. Normally it spins, the gear turns, this whole assembly, everything turns, and then it spins the auger. If something happens, if there's too much, let's say it got jammed and the auger couldn't spin anymore, then your clutch would come in, and then the gear is able to spin freely around the spindle that it's on. And there's a metal plate that's being pushed into the top of that gear, and that's where your friction comes from. There's a silicon bronze washer set into that gear. So it's a metal on metal connection there. So you'd mentioned that you're going to be using 1200 PSI. I'm going to get it really close to that. And you're probably not going to have any issues with it. But if you do, like say you have a whole bunch of air shots when you're shooting 4K, that would be indicative of a loose clutch. And too tight of a clutch, it just doesn't spin. And it can, the motor will spin. Actually, the motor will be in a stall, and it would take so much power away from your solenoid can't fire. This is also how we know it's time to change your batteries. You'll be shooting, and then you'll hear your motor running, but the solenoid won't be firing. It's because the battery, I guess it just, I mean, not the battery, but the motor takes priority over the solenoid for something. It seems like that drag will override the solenoid firing. So what you want to do to tighten and loosen that clutch is you want to grab a hold of this little cog with something, and we got that. And then you want to get like a pair of pliers, just something, and loosen or tighten this lock nut. Tightening it tightens the clutch, gives you more resistance. And you do that in case you had a lot of air shots. And about 1/8 of a turn in adjustment, either way, tight or loose, and then put it back together and then try it. That's how I go about tuning them. All right, yeah. So I'm going to button that up, put the latch plate on it, then mount the board, and then it'll be ready for testing. I already tried the board out, no issues with the reprogramming of it. So all that's good to go, and should be ready to head back Monday. All right, later.